Hello, we're back for part 2 of this cutesy little journal made out of junk mail envelopes. I will tag the first video. I'll put a card so you can go back and watch the beginning of this if you didn't see it. So as I'm finishing this, I'm going to give you the different ways in which you could do things differently. So the first thing I'm going to do on this is I'm going to do my decoration on my spine. Now this is where I was saying in the last video, you can decide whether you're just going to glue the two together or if you're going to sandwich these inside this fold. You kind of have to make that decision at the very beginning, because if you glue 4 layers of envelope in here, it's going to be too thick for most eyelets. So if you're wanting to put eyelets in here, you don't use that option. But I knew I wanted to put eyelets in here from the get, so I only did the two layers, and that would be the 2 layers of the outer envelope. And then I've got some eyelets here. I just picked gold because I don't use a lot of gold anything embellishment wise in my journals, so I have a ton of them. So that didn't quite go all the way down, so I give that another squeeze. Okay, and then we're going to put this one in. This is a generic brand of the Crocodile by We Are Memory Keepers. This is a Temu purchase. So it's got a few quirks to it that I sure probably don't exist in the legit We Are Memory Keepers Crocodile. But yeah. Put that off to the side. So what I'm going to do, I have 3 different items. I've got a black and white lace, a white and silver, and then a gray strand of embroidery floss. And I'm going to thread all 3 of those through. Now right now they are really long, and I'm not going to cut them down just yet. Because I have an idea of how I want to close this. Come on, get through there. There we go. And then the embroidery floss. Probably should have done it first since it was the thinnest. I'm going to pull those down. Just kind of opens up that hole there. Okay. What I should have. There's a whole lot of shouldas in this, and I'm just realizing, like, I should have gone down and then up, because it would have given me less extra to deal with. It's a good thing it stands up on its own, though. So I'm going to put this one through next, because this one's the whiter one. That was the one I was having the trouble with before. And then this one's a little thinner and stiffer, so it should go through easier. There we go. It goes right in. Piece of cake. I'll pull these through to the front. I gotta decide too, do I want these to be, they're naturally gonna twist, unless you tell them to do otherwise. If you want them to lay straight, you're gonna have to kind of coax them to lay straight. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do here is I'm just going to tie a knot here, and I'm going to leave those long ends for the time being. But what I'm going to do here I'm going to tie this in a knot. Never really was good at doing this as a kid either. Being able to do this with, you know, without losing the tightness of your knot on the bottom piece. I always had to have a second set of hands. Okay. Just going to tie that in a bow, just so I know how long things are. Okay, so I have this long, and it will fit. Okay. So, because I glued it straight down to this, I did coax this over on that glue line. Got it bent over and burnished down so that the pages do actually turn, but it tends to bring the cover with it because it is glued against the cover. Again, if you want it to turn like an actual book, you'll need to score, like you did here, score the long end of your inner envelopes to also fit inside this little flap. Also need to keep in mind how thick this is going to get if you fill all of these pockets, because remember, we've got a pocket here, you've got a pocket here, when you flip this out you have a pocket here, you have a pocket here, you have a pocket here, and you have a pocket here. So if you use thick cardstock for each of those pockets, this is going to really gator mouth. And for the purposes of this video, I'm not going to put tags in necessarily. At least not, especially not in all of them. But you have options here. You can use these as blanks and just decorate each individual panel, which would be kind of fun. Or you can do put some writing paper in your flaps. You could do writing paper on the inside, the outside, you know, doesn't matter. I kind of like the idea of putting them on the inside because then they become like little secret writing spaces. And of course, if you plan this ahead of time, you only need to go around the outer edge. You don't necessarily need to collage this center because it's going to be covered anyway. But I collaged it because I wanted to show you guys both ways of doing it. And my glue was being a little stubborn with my left hand. It was like, yeah, I don't want to come out at this speed. Okay, so I'm just gonna plop the, oops. Okay, I should have glued it the other way. That's okay. It's good. It's my idea journal. It's going in the idea book. It's okay. I didn't think that there was, first word was correct. I didn't realize that there was writing on the back of that, or I would have glued this side. Sorry, all my stuff is like wanting to attack. But that's okay. So that's going to go in there, and that's going to go in there. Now, if you are going to put a journaling card in here, and if you want to put a tab on it, you'll need to trim this down so that you have room. Because you only have like 1/8 of an inch between the edge of this one and here. So if you want to be able to put a tab on those, you're going to need to cut them shorter. Otherwise, what you can do is just do a little thumb notch. Like so. As I fling them all at me. And then when you put your card in here, you'll do it then you'll have this little thumb pull here to be able to grab your card with. So if we I'm like, do we have one that's short enough? I'm like, so we can pretend. So say this is your card. So you have the little spot here that you be able to grab it with your finger and your thumb and pull your card out. So either trim it down so you can put a flap on it, or a tab, or notch it out, whichever you prefer. Now I'm going to do some tabs. So I have 4 different types of envelope insides here. I want 4 different patterns. So we've got one there. Ooh, that one did not want to cut. Ugh, okay, out. Didn't like that envelope, apparently. Okay, trick to that. Sometimes punches, no, most times, when punches get a little older, they get a little temperamental when it comes to punching single layers of stuff. So you just put another layer there, typically is all it takes. It doesn't have to be like heavy cardstock, just something to make that layer extra thick. And then you gotta try to figure out how to get it in there with your fingers in the way. Okay, just like so. See, and voila. And in this case, I'll have an extra one. And let's see, is it going to do this one nicely? We'll see. Nope. I should have trusted my instinct. We're going to do that again. I don't feel like cutting. I don't feel like trimming. So we're going to stick this with another piece of paper. Give that a punch out. And again, I'll have extra. The little cream ones there. It's okay. Okay, I'm going to take these scraps. We don't need those. Pick up my little half moons. My holes, my dots. Whoops, missed my hand. Threw those ones on the floor. Okay, let's fold each of these in half. I want them to kind of go dark, light, or light, dark, light, dark. So something like this. I'm not going to bother inking these. If I was doing this for somebody else, I would ink them. Okay. And now what I'm going to do in applying these is I'm going to do the top and the bottom first. So that way I can center the other two. So first one I'm going to put on the top flap. You could even put it on the bottom flap if you want. Doesn't really matter. The whole purpose of it literally is just to give some decoration here so that you can flip. Just depends on if you want to be able to see the tab on the front or do you want to be able to see it when you flip. Like so. And I'm going to do it, so I think I'm going to do it on the back. And what I usually do is I just glue the bottom first so that I can get it placed where I want it. The bottom on one side. Guess I should finish my thought there. So I just glued this little piece here, and that gets that glued there. And then I come back in like this, and I put glue up there, and all on that other flap. And then when I open this up, and bend it down, it glues to itself. Ta-da! And there's one little tabby. Your pocket is still open. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing on the back. So again, I'm going to go just on that bottom piece. And we're going to go just gluing it to the outside of this pocket. My dog is outside having a conniption. I wonder what he's barking at. And then on this, you're going to glue this whole glue there, and you're going to put some glue on that little tabby. And that just kind of doubles the glue on both sides so that it is sure to hold. Open that up. Tuck that in. Give them a little squeeze. Make sure you didn't glue your pocket closed. Something here was giving me some headache. Like something wasn't glued all the way. I don't know. Okay, so now these, you can't do it like this. You can't go 1/2 and 1/2, because then if it's glued like this, when you go to open your pocket, your tab is going to fold. So I'm going to glue these together first. So I'm going to glue them solid together like so. Here's one. And there's two. Glue web. Okay. Now we don't have as much space. I can't put them just like side by side. They're gonna overlap just a smidge with the top and the bottom, because I can't. There's not enough space for me to put them so that they don't. So what I'm gonna do here. Now this is glued, it's double layered. I'm going to put just glue down here on this bottom piece, like we do with the first ones. I'm going to get it kind of overlapping here, so that I know where I'm putting it there. And I'm going to give that a squish down. Like so. And then this one I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put just a little bit of glue down here on the bottom. I'm going to line it up, overlapping just a little bit with the one before it. Kind of give it just a little bit of a squeeze, a little bit of a squish, just to get it stuck to the envelope. Now you've got the cute little tabs, but the tab doesn't interfere with the opening and the closing. See, when you open it, your tab's going to lay flat because it's not glued on this side. Hopefully that makes sense. I just like the look of the 4 tabs. Now what I was thinking for a closure, which I'm not sure why I wasn't sure it was going to work, is because of those tabs. I mean, I could go between them, I guess. And then I was going to maybe something, maybe a key or something there. Now you remember you've got two top loading pockets as well. So you could also put tabs coming out the top of your 2 tabs if you want tabs to be showing up on the top as well. They're not quite dry. Now, I'm not going to decorate every pocket. Again, this is just for my idea book, so. But I did find this really cool vintage couch that I thought was kind of neat. It's in my stash. I have a book. I bought a book, one of the first books I bought actually, when I started junk journaling, and it's a book on how to price vintage furniture at auctions, basically, or how to know, what to bid, how much is too much to bid for vintage furniture. So it's got all these really cool images in it. Let's see what I got up here for charms. Do a key. And I want to try to find my bulb pins. Really need to label my stuff up here again. A bunch of the labels that I made for them have all fallen off. Pretty sure my bulb pins were in one of the white drawers, not one of the brown ones. Move my little Highland cow down. They count. My son and daughter-in-law made them for me. I got a black one and a white one. They do 3D printing. They do custom orders, and they do sell them. So if you're interested in 3D printed stuff, let me know, and I can I don't want to spend a whole lot of time looking for my bulb pins, because I'd have to bring my whole tower down to look, and I don't want to do it. So we're just going to do it this way. I'm going to trim those off. Probably not going to need that much anyway, but I wanted a nice clean place to start, in theory. Okay, let's figure out see, and I keep almost untying this. So if your stuff is too thick to double knot, if I double knotted this, it would really bulk it up. Even if you're not going to use it as a wrap like I am. Once you've got your, I almost called it a bib, your bow, the way you want it, and you got it to its lengths, just stick a little bit of glue on that knot. You could glue it down if you wanted to, which I think in this case I will, because I still have room to go up underneath, which is ultimately what I was hoping to do. So I do want these a little bit shorter. Okay. Now those are going to glue down. You guys didn't see that. I almost just cut that one off. It's like, ooh, that would have been counterproductive to my plan. Okay, so I'm going to go down here. I'm going to go between the two. Okay, so then just going to take this, I'm going to tie a knot. I'm not going to double knot it because again, this is very thick. So I'll just tie that on there. If I could have found my bulb clips, I would have done it that way. But, and then again, I'm just going to take some of the glue and I'm going to stick it on that knot. That'll help keep it from untying. It'll prevent it from untying, actually. I'm going to trim this off. Yeah, I got to use some stuff out of my stash. And then this, I'm going to slide underneath here. Boop. And under here as a closure. Ta-da! Isn't it cute? Just a quick little, you know, envelope journal. You can figure out a different way to do a closure. Again, the tabs are optional. The eyelets with the ribbon is optional. You know, but lots of different ways that you can design and decorate these. But it's very cute. So just a short little video to finish up from last week. I hope you are having a good Saturday and enjoy the rest of your evening. But until next time, toodles.